Alrighty. Wow, I'm already live and I have people who actually care. So, anyway, guys, what's up? Long time no see. It's A.R.A Productions, and I guess welcome to a live stream. So, I bet you're all wondering, where have you been? Why have you not been uploading videos frequently? I have been so busy, it's not even funny. I've been really busy with school and other things, and I just really haven't gotten a chance to do this. And sadly, it's going to be even less frequent because of my job. I'll be starting pretty soon. So I figured I'd do this for you guys. I was going to go out for a walk, but I'm pretty sure it's like 20 something degrees outside right now. So I figured, you know what? Yeah, screw that. So yeah, why not? So anyway, just want to make sure you guys can hear me well before I get into everything. So this is actually the first time I've fired up the MS5UD in probably, I want to say, about 3 or 4 weeks. This panel here is on 24/7. It's actually being used as an active system right now. Right now, for the devices on the system, we have a Notifier A.R.A 10 Agent Release Pull Station, ADT 5060S, System Sensor 2400 TH, Smoke and Heat Detector, thermal sensor, by the way. And then we have a System Sensor 2100S as well. And then we have 2 Spectral Classics. One is a multi-candela remote strobe, sent to 15 candela. And then we have a horn strobe, which is set to 15 candela as well. And they're both synced up because, fun fact, 3rd generation Spectral Classics sync up when they're on the same circuit. So, for example, let me find my 2nd generation one. I had it, could have swore I had it up here at some point. Where did I put it? I set it down somewhere. I don't know where it was. It was on my dresser the other day, but I think I moved it. I just don't know where to. The advance is there. A bunch of devices laying around. Well, it's not really laying around, but I do have some devices out and about. Let's see here. I'm trying to, okay, here it is. It's under like 3 hats. So this is a 2nd generation Spectral Alert. There's a difference between them. So the 1st generation have a screw hole at the top that you use to screw it to the back plate. 2nd generation is pretty much the same exact concept, except for it has a click lock thing in here instead. So instead of using a screwdriver, you would use a little removal tool. Let me look inside my panels for my other set of keys. Here they are. And what you do is you take this little tool and then you just put it into the little slot and then just push down and it'll pop off. So, and then this Spectral Alert here, the way that it works is that you have the positive for the horn here, the negative for the horn there, and then you have the positive for the strobe there and the negative for the strobe there. Now, the 3rd generation Spectral Alert Classic is a bit different. On the back of the horn strobe, now keep in mind all Spectral Alert Classic horn strobes are 4-wire, and all the strobes are 2-wire. So it's 4-wire because there's 2 wires for the horn and then 2 wires for the strobe, and then for the strobe you only need 2 wires. So 4-wire is really good. So on this Spectral Alert, the way it works is you have both the negative terminals next to each other, the negative horn and then the negative strobe. And then on the other set of terminals is the positive horn, the positive strobe. So it's wired a bit differently. Yeah, so I'm guessing you guys want to hear some noise. Now, I would do a walk test on the MS5UD. However, MS5UD currently doesn't have batteries because I'm using this panel for my main system because this panel still goes into like a municipal trouble once in a while, and it only tends to happen really late at night when everyone's sleeping. So I don't want to keep it on 24/7 when it's going to wake me up. But this panel doesn't have a loud transformer. It doesn't beep. Well, it beeps loud and obnoxious when there's a trouble, but it doesn't have any trouble. And the panel's really nice, so I can't really complain about it. So yeah. So anyway, like I said, I would take this Firelight MS5UD here and put it in walk test, but if I do that and there's a trouble in the system, I can't silence the piezo, and it will keep going off, and I can't turn it off unless I actually like pull the alarm or something. So regardless, if you guys want me to test a specific system first, I can do that. Holy cow, we're starting to get a lot of people in here. Anyway, activate the 5ED. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I forget how I wired this panel up. I forget if all these pull stations are on separate zones. I know the detector is on its own zone, but I'm just going to activate all of them real quick. So with that being said, I'm going to put my key into the BG12L. Keep in mind that the alarms are Wheelock, well, Honeywell branded, but it's a Wheelock NS, and then we have a Wheelock Exceeder, which pretty much are the same exact things, except for they have two different bodies. This strobe's a tad bit different, and the horns are slightly pitched, like really like a small bit. Like they sound pretty much identical. It's very hard to notice a difference, but there is a little bit of a difference. So I am going to put on my ear protection, and yeah. We are going to get started. So I guess I will start off with the BG12L. And 3, just to let you guys know, these are in sync. And this is on 15 candela, and this is on 15 candela. I'm not a big fan of red strobes. So if you guys are using earbuds or whatever, turn the volume down. It's about to get loud. So here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, not only are the horns and the strobes in sync, but I have these two devices set up for audible silence, even though they're both 2-wire devices, which is really cool. So, and there are 2-wire horn strobes. These are two. But the NS does come in 4-wire versions. I think the Exceeder also comes in 4-wire versions. But essentially, 2-wire means that when you apply power, both the horn and the strobe will activate. If it's a horn strobe, but then if a horn strobe is 4-wire, like the classic, you need to apply power to both the horn and the strobe to get both to go off. So, but usually I just take a couple of jumpers and just jump the terminals. And if you don't know what that means, I don't feel like explaining it. Essentially, it's like I'll explain later. If someone wants to explain it in the chat, they can. But so anyway, I'm going to key out. Actually, I'm going to pull the simplex T-bar. Here we go. Okay. Hit the simplex T-bar. And now I'm going to hit the Firelight BG10. Okay. BG10 is reset. And I'm going to reset the system to make life a little bit easier. And then I'm going, actually, I need to keep this panel open because there's trouble. Yeah, so now I'm going to, so if I'm not paying attention to chat, guys, I will pay attention in a second. I just kind of want to do this and get it out of the way. So I'm going to activate this simplex smoke detector, and cool thing is, I have this simplex detector wired, so if I take the head off the base, the panel will go into trouble. So it's good for if it gets tampered with, but I doubt it will because it's on my room, or on my board in my room. So I'm going to use some artificial smoke to test this. So here we go. Now we're going to take the detector head off. Blow into the chamber so that way there's no leftover smoke and we can reset. So there are 2 types of smoke detectors in terms of how they are wired. There's head wired, which are these system sensor ones, And then there is base wire detectors that are like the simplex one. So the difference between them is that you take the base and you connect it to either a back box, a stud in the wall or on the ceiling rather, or you put it on a junction box, whatever, sink it in a drywall. And then you run wires through the back, and then you connect it to the on the back of the detector head. And then once the detector is wired up, you just screw it onto the base. Now, a different way you can do it is that you can do the same process in terms of mounting the detector, but then you take your wires and put them into the terminals on the base. And then what you do is you would take your detector head, and then you would, once the base is wired up, this is going to go into trouble. You take the detector, screw it onto the base until you hear some sort of click, or you hear that the detector is on there steadily, and you would wait for it to start blinking, pulling, whatever, and it should be ready to go. So that's that. So I'm going to take a little bit of a look at the chat real quick because I haven't not really paying attention. So yeah. Then I'm going to go test the Firelight Sensa Scan panel. So I'm going to leave this panel on for a little bit, but then it's probably going to go off and stay off for a while. I just want to let you guys know I haven't lost interest in this hobby whatsoever. It just hasn't really been a main concern, and I haven't really been like interested in doing it recently, just because I have a lot of things going on right now. I'm going to be graduating early. I'm going to be graduating on junior status because of my high amount of credits, but it does mean I need to work harder and do a couple extra classes. And also, I'm going to be getting a job probably in 3 or 4 weeks. I already have it. I'm going for training on March 16th and 17th. So that's like 2 weeks. And then hopefully I'll start my actual job the following week or the next couple following weeks. So hopefully I'll be working by April. I'm pretty sure I will be. Anyway, let me look at the chat. See, I admire you. I have an older Spectre alert. Nice. Where do you buy fire alarms? I buy fire alarms typically the best place to buy fire alarms is eBay. eBay has a lot of fire alarms you can choose from. Definitely really good to get stuff off of there. You can get it for relatively cheap. You can get it off of Amazon, but Amazon could be a tad bit more pricey because stuff is usually sold at retail price. So rather than getting for example, one of these, this is a good alarm to start out with. This is a Spectre Alert Advance. This is relatively new. This came out in the early 2000s. These actually just got replaced by the System Sensor L series, which is pretty much this, except for it's reskinned and revamped. But anyway, these are really good alarm to start out with. They're really cool. They make a unique sound. They come in 2-wire versions and 4-wire versions, and like some smoke detectors, these are actually base wired, which means that like this they're wired in through the back plate. So the way you'd mount the back plate on the wall, you connect your wires into the terminal block, and then you would put the alarm onto the thing, and there'd be like some metal tabs in the back of the alarm that would align with the terminals, and that would give it power. Anyway, but for example, if you're on Amazon, you might see one of these for like $64, which is a complete total ripoff, but you could probably get one of these brand new in box on Amazon for like $30, $35, which is more reasonable. They'd be even cheaper if they're used, but if they're used, it doesn't necessarily mean they're in bad condition. It just means they've either been like installed in a building before or someone else has previously owned it and they just don't have a use for it anymore. But yeah. Anyway, what else? And this is my favorite alarm. My favorite is the P2RL-SP. That is the Spanish version of the System Sensor L series. Did I ever tell you I finally got a panel? No, that's actually really cool. Photoelectric is better than ionization. Yes, it is. I'll do a quick explanation of what photoelectric is and what ionization detectors are. So I just want to point out, all of these smoke detectors are photoelectric. And essentially that means is there's a chamber in the detector with like a beam of light shooting across it. And when smoke particles get into it, the smoke will cause the light to beam onto another little tab, and the tab will bend, and it'll cause the alarm. It'll cause it to go into an alarm. Ionization detectors, such as this older Edwards one, for example, have a small little chamber in there with radioactive material, and it's not a lot. It's like It's so little. The only way it could be harmful is if you're sticking your eye directly in the chamber. But essentially, certain smoke particles, it only detects certain types of smoke. It goes into the detection chamber, and once it detects the particles, it has a little bit of a nuclear reaction, and if it detects the smoke in the reaction, it will cause an alarm. So essentially, that's all it is. So ionization detectors are older and are only used to detect certain types of smokes. They are used in some cases today, but 99% of the smoke detectors you'll see in today's day and age are photoelectric. For example, probably the most common detector in the United States would be the System Sensor i3. These are everywhere, and they're really nice detectors. I really like these a lot. Okay, so let me keep looking. What is my favorite alarm? My probably favorite alarm is either the Wheelock EH-DL1 series. I'm really a big fan of these. They're really cool. They're a retro-y device. They're from the 90s, 80s, late 80s, early 90s. They're really nice. The older mechanical Wheelock 7002Ts, these are mechanical horn strobes, and they're pretty famous for having a very goofy skipping noise. And probably the Spectre Alert Classic. I really do like this device. I've always been a fan of it since I was a kid. And yeah, also the Wheelock MT. MT is a really nice one too. There's a WS24 remote strobe next to it, but those aren't connected. Those two devices used to be running over to my Edwards Fire Shield when it was here. That has obviously since been replaced. And though there's also a junction box over there, and those are just out of order right now. Everything over there works, but they're just not in use right now. But if I put up another panel, they'll probably be connected to that panel. Favorite pull station. My favorite pull station, let me grab it. It's probably, hang on. Favorite pull station definitely has to be the Simplex 4251-20. I have this is a 2099 pull station over here. I think this is a 2099 97-54, something like that. This is a newer one made probably like in 2015. This is one made from like the 80s or the 70s, 80s, or 90s. I think this one was 80s. It has a thicker plastic, a metal back, nice terminal, and overall, I think it is a really nice pull station, and it looks really good. And I personally think they work a lot better than their newer counterparts. This is a second generation model. This also has a plastic handle. I have a first generation model as well, which is a tad bit more rare. And there are a couple noticeable features on the first generation model than the second generation one. For example, if you look at the two of them, first generation is in this hand here, and this is the second generation one. This one does not have the arrow on the T-bar, and also this pull down piece, the T handle, is made of metal when this one is made of plastic. So definitely a little bit of a classic, and also there's a little bit of a difference. And I'd have to say another pull station of mine I really like would have to either be the BG12L. This is a newer pull station. They've actually been around since like the early 2000s and are still in use, which is really nice. And then you have its predecessor, the Firelight BG10, which was used probably from the really early 80s to the late 90s, actually into the early 2000s as well. So, but yeah. What is your, hang on. Your screw ionization, flames. You have an EHSDL2. All right, awesome. So, with that being said, I am going to do some testing on this panel. Keep in mind that there is 2 pull stations, 2 smoke detectors, and I guess a heat detector, and then there's a remote strobe and a horn strobe. So this might not be as loud, even though the Spectre Alert is pretty loud. It's only one alarm that's actually beeping rather than these 2 are both beeping and flashing. These 2 are both flashing, but this one is beeping and flashing. So that being said, and also here's a little bit of a comparison as well. This is a red Spectre Alert, and this is a white Spectre Alert. The red one, I think, looks a little bit nicer and has a white fire lettering, and then this is an all white body and all white cover or trim plate with red fire lettering. But they both still look really cool. But yeah, so anyway, I think I'm going to put my ear protection on first so I don't go deaf. and got an MS4 as well. That's pretty cool. All right, so now I am going to pull the ADT pulsation. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Strobes are in sync. Okay. And this ADT pulsation, fun fact, takes a simplex key, which is quite interesting. Bit over set. Okay, there we go. And we'll pull this agent release pulsation. Okay. Let me grab my drill wherever I put it. I'll be right back. I gotta grab my drill real quick. Now, normally you really can't do this with BG10s, but this one has a screw in it. And if I do use a drill on it, I'm usually very slow with it. I still not damage the locking mechanism. Okay, so there's that. And a cool little feature about this panel is it has re-alarm on it. I explained this in one of the videos I uploaded on it. If you haven't gone and checked those out, it'd be really awesome if you guys did. Let's see. Anyway, but the cool thing about this panel is it actually has re-alarm for the zones, which means that if you pull the pulsation and then reset it, you can actually pull it again and it'll go back into alarm. So let me demonstrate. I've activated both of these pull stations and reset both of them. And normally with the panel that's newer, this one is from the 90s and it's actually pretty rare as well. For example, if I were to pull a pull station on this panel and I would pull the pull station, silence the alarm, and then reset the pull station without resetting the panel, and I were to pull that same pull station or any device on that zone again, it would not activate. Now, but for example, with this panel, I'll actually show you. Let's say where are my keys? Where'd I stick them? Oh, they're in the pulsation. So let's, for example, pull the ADT pulsation again. Or I'm going to key activate it. Okay. And then it's closed. It's reset. So now if I pull it again, it goes off again. So that's a pretty cool feature. Now, that only works with pull stations and key switches and buttons. Now, it's a bit different with detectors. So the way that smoke detectors work is when they're activated, they're latched into alarm until the circuit is reset. And by that meaning, the panel has to be reset in order for it to be activated again. So both of these detectors are on the same zone. They're on zone 1, and which means that if I activate one of these, it'll go into alarm. But it'll the light will stay on until the panels are set. Unlike a pull station where it's not intelligent enough to be able to stay locked into alarm. It'll only stay in alarm till it is reset. That's only for conventional pull stations. Adjustable pull stations are a bit different, but I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, but conventional smoke detectors, if they're on the same zone, unless the zone, no matter what, if it has re-alarm on the zones or if it doesn't, regardless, it still will not re-alarm that zone. So let me explain. So for example, I'm going to grab a screwdriver, which I can use. These detectors have a little test hole on here. Some detectors have a little hole where you can take a screwdriver and poke it and it'll activate it. And then other detectors like the simplex one have a spot where you can take a high-powered magnet and hold it there for a few seconds and it'll trip the alarm. So for example, I'm going to take the screwdriver and pluck it into the 2400 and I'll activate it. As you can see, the detector is activated. I'm not sure if you can see the light on here. Actually, I think you can. But the light is on here, which means it's latched into alarm. So even though I silenced the alarm, the detector itself is not reset. So if I were to take this screwdriver and put it into this detector, the detector will activate, but since the zone's already activated, it won't re-trip the alarm. So I'll show you, for example. Ready? See that the detector light is on, which means it's activated, but since the zone hasn't been reset or the initiating device prior to this one hasn't been reset, it's not going to go back into alarm. So, but let's say, for example, I had to reset the panel so I could do this. Let's say, for example, I pulled this pull station and then want to activate a smoke detector after silencing it. I can do that, just as long as they're not on the same zone. Okay. And then if I hit this, go back into alarm. So even if this pulsation and this detector were on the same zone, technically I could do re-alarm, but I would have to pull the pulsation first and then reset it and then do the detector. Because if I did the detector first, all the devices on that zone would still be rendered into alarm and it wouldn't work. So let me rephrase that. Rather, that device would still be rendered in alarm and none of the other ones would work. So let me set it. Okay, so there's that. And I just want to say the reason why I'm kind of being a little more professional at this is because I have a lot of new viewers on my channel who are new to this and don't really know much about it. And also, I haven't really been around, so I kind of want to keep it a little bit professional whenever I do this from now on. But yeah, let me look at the comments. I like the white Spectral Classics. Yeah, they're very nice. If you can get your hands on one, I definitely would recommend getting it. They look really nice. Brand new in box. I got both of these units brand new in box. I accidentally got sent this one when I ordered a horn strobe. So the seller told me to keep this one, and they sent me this one as well. So I got to keep this one for free, and I got to pay that. So I think I only paid like $25 for both of them, which is really good pricing, especially since they're both new in box. So anyway, but this is 4-wire. It works really well. You can wire it as 2-wire. All you need to do is take a small piece of wire and put it into the one positive terminal into the other, and then the negative terminal into the other, and then apply your power, and both of them should activate. So yeah. For example, as you can see with this Spectral Alert, it has 2 jumpers on it. You have your positive terminal for the strobe, your positive terminal for the horn, negative for the strobe, and negative for the horn. So as you can see, the positive to the strobe is going to the positive on the horn, and then the negative on the strobe is going to the negative on the horn. So what that does is when I apply power, and if I put a negative power source into one of these negatives and a positive into the positive on one of these, just as long as they're on the same terminal set, it will activate because there will be power going from the one part of the horn or the one part of the device going to the next, which will cause them both to go into alarm. Now, if this were a horn-only unit, which means there'd be no strobe, it would just be the horn, or if this were a strobe only, such as that one, and there were no horn in it, it would be 2-wire. So typically when you see 4-wire devices, they're horn strobes in terms of like notification appliances. But if you see, for example, the Spectral Alerts, all the horn strobes that are the classic horn strobes, they're all 4-wire. So if you just see a remote strobe or a remote horn, they would be 2-wire because there's only the horn or the strobe that need to be powered up. So there's that. You have a 2.7 SPO. Yes, I have. I think several of them. I have, I think 3 of them. 2 of them have key switches in them, and 1 doesn't. Here's one with the key switch. This one's really nice. I like this one a lot. There's that. I have a lot of EST devices. Yeah, this is the 5060S. We ought to talk to each other again. We haven't in a year. It's not that I don't want to. I'm very busy. As you can see, I very rarely get a chance to do this. I very rarely get to talk to my really close friends in this community. So if I can one day, I definitely will. But I don't know when that'll be because I'm already busy at the moment. And I don't get a chance to do this. And that busyness is about to increase gradually. So if I do, I will let you know. But if I can't, then, let's see. Okay, so let me explain. Okay, he says he has a 4-wire Cerberus Pyrotronic strobe. I actually have one of those as well. Let me grab it down from my shelf. I have a couple of them. They're actually brand new in box. I don't even think I've ever opened this one. So this is a brand new in box Cerberus Pyrotronics remote strobe. This is from the 90s, early 2000s. It is 4-wire as well. And if you have a 4-wire strobe, all that means is that there's an extra set of connections on here, and those extra set of connections can be used to wire it to another panel, another power source, or those 2 wires can be used to put a resistor on the back of it if it's an end-of-line unit. So I don't know how many horn onlys have 4 wires, but if they did, it would be the same principle. But essentially, just as long if you have a remote strobe or a remote horn and there's 4 wires on it, just as long as you take a positive wire and a negative wire and apply power to both of them, it should go off regardless. Whether or not you have whether or not you have 4 wires on it or not. So I guess a little bit of a recap after that. Strobe onlys and horn onlys only need 2 wires to be operated, only need 2 wires to be powered. Horn strobes that are 4-wire, depending on the way you wire them, can either be wired 4-wire, which is the best way to do it, or they can be wired as 2-wire, depending on how you do it. But that's that. What's going on, everyone? So, yeah, I'm not sure what else you guys want me to do. I really don't have much else to talk about. I went over both of these systems. Let me see what time it is real quick. 7:10. It's not that late. I might be able to still go on my walk depending on how cold it is. Actually, let me go. I'll be right back. I'm going to see how cold it is real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I am back. It's all right outside, but you know what? It's whatever. You better chill before I get Michael on you. I don't even know who that is. Or I guess I do know who it is, and I'm just blanking. But yeah. What's up, Aaron? If you guys haven't, make sure you go check out Aaron Productions' channel. He is a really he does really good videos, and if you guys definitely haven't checked him out, I definitely recommend it. He's a really good YouTuber. Anyway, so I can't really say there's too much else to do unless you guys want me to do something specific. I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to come up with some ideas, and if you guys can't come up with anything, then I guess I will just end the stream and call it a night. No problem for the middle school. No, you're welcome for the shout out. I'm stupid. I can't think. Yeah, but anyway, I hope that cleared some of this for some of my newer viewers. A lot of people at my school who know about this don't exactly know the extent of it, and they kind of think it's, either stupid or cool or whatever. And I guess I kind of wanted to show the aspect of it. It's not like some sort of weird obsession. It's like this will actually benefit my career when I get older. It's an electrical-based hobby, which is really good. All of this is like powered by electricity, so it really helps my knowledge in terms of like wiring and stuff like that. So that's why I do it. It's actually always been kind of cool since I've been a kid. But yeah. And if anyone from my school is watching this right now, the only reason I'm such a fanatic on these, like what each of these are called, is because typically on the back of these alarms and these detectors or whatever, it has the model number on it. And I guess I've memorized it over time. So anyway, let's see. Anyway, so if you guys can come up with anything you want me to do, just let me know. And if you guys can't come up with anything in the next, I guess I'll give you guys till it's 7:13 right now. I'll give you guys till about like 7:18. If you guys can't come up with anything, I'll call it quits. And but yeah. So regardless, let's see here. Okay, hold up. I'm just checking my phone real quick, guys. Alrighty. All right, let me check my computer. Hold up. All right, hold up. JFK was AFK. I guess I know you. I don't know. You haven't really said what your name is. I'll probably be like, oh, obviously I know who you are. But so obviously I know all those people. But okay. What's up, Jaquan? All right. I didn't realize it was you. What's up, dude? Yeah, Jaquan was one of my really good friends in middle school. I haven't talked to you in a minute, dude. Um, but yeah, I was friends with him in like seventh and eighth grade. But yeah, Jaquan, you were funny as hell, dude. You like were hysterical back in the days of me being a little bitch. Actually, I still am a little bit, but whatever. Anyway, what's up, Will? So, regardless, I don't know what to do. I guess there's really not much to do. I can't do a walk test on this thing because I don't have batteries and it'll like won't stop beeping. I've tested this, and those things aren't hooked up. So I guess I'll call it a night. So anyway, guys, I guess I'm gonna get going. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you leave a like. If you're new, please subscribe. That'd be really awesome. And I will try to get videos out as frequently as possible. I don't have a schedule currently for uploading. I just don't have the time to edit, upload, and all that crap. So, plus record. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.